European creative rights and football are absolutely joined at the hip. The basis of the economic success of football in Europe and sport in Europe has been based on successfully exploiting intellectual property rights. So the traditional creative industries and sport come together with a common view that somehow, if you want to build on European success in these areas, you have to take an interest in the creative rights, the rights that underpin creativity. The biggest single problem we face in the single market and elsewhere is piracy. Digital technology makes piracy much easier, and single market rules and existing copyright rules aren't necessarily right or enforced sufficiently to deal with piracy. That's a very immediate threat that's costing the European Union creative industries economy hundreds of millions of euros in lost economic activity and lost taxes as well. Looking forward, it's the changes, the potential changes to European creative rights that worry a great many content producers, because there's a simple view, a very simplistic view, that somehow a single market in Europe means that nationally based copyright regimes are a barrier to a single market, and therefore they're bad, they should be moderated, reduced, or even swept away in the interest of the consumer. We think this is completely wrong. National based copyright allows people like us to address our material to consumers in their own language, with their cultural preferences, and you need copyright protection to enable you to do that. It's hugely in the consumer interest, and if the consumers are happy, then they buy our output, and that makes us happy too. As the EU considers these things, I think the first thing I would say as an introduction to that is they should recognise that European Union nations are world leaders in creative industries, and they shouldn't break what's already fixed and working very well. They should look at the strengths and build on those, and yes, make changes at the margins, but not go to the very heart of the regime, because they'll be hoping for transformational change, which may never come, yet they could lose something that's working very well at the moment. So I think what we would like to see is, yes, a strong single market in which rights producers are encouraged and assisted by the framework to meet consumer demand wherever it is, and I think we should cooperate on that. But it should not be at the cost of diversity. And the one thing we are very worried about is that the European institutions look for pan-European rights, pan-European licensing as a major objective rather than something that's merely part of a bundle of approaches. Pan-European rights should emerge because that's what consumers want. So the first thing I would say in terms of what should they bring forward, as they look at pan-European licensing, be very careful that you don't swamp national focused output. Second thing is, we need certainty. If there's going to be investment, if there's going to be innovation, you need certainty that the work you do now, there's a chance of being rewarded in the future. So as they go through the process, they shouldn't destabilise it by introducing change processes which create massive uncertainty. Change should be incremental and evidence-based. And thirdly, I would say they should recognise that copyright and related rights, there's a whole series of factors here of interrelations. And just because there might be an individual problem, for example, around orphan works, which creates lots of difficulty with archive material, there might be issues around fair use, around the private copying right. They should be addressed primarily as individual problems rather than as overwhelming problems, which means the whole structure has to be reformed. This is about a confident Europe that's confident about being European, but also confident about each individual's own national and cultural background and feeling they can enjoy it and they can share it.